Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Fear the Talking Heads. I am joined today by Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
If you've been paying attention, Rachel's never been on Fear the Talking Heads. And I've been so excited about getting her on here so that we can chat about Halloween Kills. And I first want her to kind of talk about her channel because she's all about the vampires.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to talk this particular movie because I think it needs some defending. So we'll see how we go when we get into it. But yeah, my channel is more focused on video essays. I'm one of those people that just loves to rewatch until like I wear out the VHS tape or the DVD or whatever. Like I see these memes going around on like Instagram, like name something you've watched more than 5 times. I'm like, is that an accomplishment? I could name so many movies and TV shows that I have like watched 5 times in one day. So I rewatch so much. So I end up with like all these thoughts and thinking about characters and everything, and they need to come out some way. As Bob says, I'm very much Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the spin-off Angel, which of course, if you are a horror fan, you probably do love a bit of vampires. And a lot of like more old school stuff, more kind of showing my age, stuff from when I was younger. So a lot of Charmed, and Buffy, Angel, that sort of thing. I do have a few horror movie essays because of course you will come across horror movies that you want to like get really into, but it's more just kind of like if you're like an older millennial and you miss your youth, come to my channel because I think you'll rediscover it there. Oh, I love vampires. They're just so many stories you can tell and so many messed up dynamics, and the originals is a great one because I absolutely love the messed up family dynamics of the Michaelsons and how they're this twisted, borderline incestuous, codependent family
Oh
that are just
yeah.
so evil, but like they'll all just like kill for one another and protect one another. And, they've been alive for like thousands of years. So they've got so much baggage. And it's such a fun genre to explore.
And you can tell from Rachel's accent, she's not from around here. Our little friend from down under.
From the other side of the globe. Although I think there's this whole petition to pretend that Australia doesn't exist at the moment.
Oh
So
my
I'm one of those
goodness.
paid actors that are pretending to be Australian.
The movie that we're talking about today, Halloween Kills, it has gotten a little bit of flack from some people for some flaws that are within the directing, the movie, the dialogue, any of that. And we are here to mostly defend it, but also to explore some of the cheese that we do see in the movie. I mean, because on both of our rewatches, we were kind of like, okay, maybe people had a point on some of this, but it's a fun movie. It was meant to be the middle installment as just a ton of kills, honestly, that like the name is. So
Oh yeah, lives
now
up to its title 100%.
on this rewatch, I kind of noticed so Hawkins, when it's showing him in the house with his partner,
Mm.
and he accidentally shoots the partner. And I'm thinking, okay, that was an accident. But then he's standing over him and he doesn't put pressure on the wound and his partner dies.
Ooh, he just lets him bleed out. It's like, dude, I mean, I know it's the 70s and maybe, first aid was not as well taught, but yeah, no, I am the same. It's like, okay, so he's bleeding all over the place. Let's try and stop the bleeding or at least help him, but we're just going to stand here and watch apparently. No, I did notice that.
Okay.
It's a little bit messed up.
That was hard because I guess I don't know with the on the first and even the second watch I didn't pay attention to it as much because you're just kind of taking all the scenery in. But this
Yeah.
time I'm like, dude, you could have probably saved him. People have lived through neck wounds before.
I know, and
So
look at this franchise and look at what some people survive in this franchise alone. I mean, definitely he could have lived. I mean, that whole thing, I mean, I know Hawkins was in a bad state, but like Michael and his partner were so close together. I wouldn't have risked the shot, man. It's just a little too much. And there's like 10,000 policemen downstairs. Just call for backup. And,
right.
maybe the friend could make it. Like, Michael's only choking him. It can take a while
Oh
to choke someone
yeah.
into unconsciousness. So,
That's what I was thinking too. He's
yeah.
not stabbing him. He's just got a
No.
little grip on his neck. And let me just say, Karen, Judy Greer as Karen, I really the first
Oh.
time around did not like her. It was
Mm.
hard for me to attach to her as a character. I felt like she was miscast, but let me just say, my feelings have changed on that. I feel in that moment where she's at the hospital and she's watching the blood off of her hands and she's kind of looking at her
Hmm.
ring, just kind of breaking down, thinking about her husband. And it's just kind of a reality check in that moment. Like, we've lost people. So
Yeah, yeah, I love that they put that beat in because you do tend to forget that in horror films, because we're so caught up in the kills and the adrenaline and everything. You forget that within these universes, these people who are dying, they obviously have friends, they have family, and so I did like that they took a beat to show that it's a personal loss for her and for her daughter. And no, I remember in the first movie with Karen struggling a little bit with her, and obviously because she has that estranged relationship from Laurie, and we are obviously on Laurie's side, so it's hard to watch someone be
yeah.
against her. But I do think that in this film, she does level up, and she becomes kind of the voice of reason. And I think that she really does. The characterization becomes stronger in this film, and they give her some good character beats with her
Yeah.
mother, with her daughter, and yeah, she's much fun. And I really do like Judy Greer, and I can understand what you're saying. Like when you watch the first movie and the casting, it's like, is this gonna work? But I think that
Right.
by the second movie, they're all a lot more comfortable with each other. Maybe they've gotten their chemistry worked out, and I think she does work in this film a lot better than she did in the first one.
Oh my gosh. I feel like her mama bear, that protective mama bear mode was really prevalent in
Hmm.
the second one.
Yeah.
And I mean, what did you think about as far as like you're thinking about the beginning? Obviously, everyone raves about the fireman scene when Michael comes out of the house.
I actually do think that is a great scene. Like, first of all, I remember when I watched the end of 2018, I was like, how is he going to get out of this? And I just love that at the beginning of this movie, it's as simple as the fire department are coming. It's like, oh, yeah, of course. It's a house on fire. The fire department are going to come. Like, we're racking our brains at the end of 2018. Like, how's he going to like be so smart to get us? It's like, oh no, I'm just going to wait for the fire dudes to show up. It's like, okay, no, good play, man.
Good
But I love
place.
that scene because it's just I feel like when I was watching this, I got the same feeling. Like outside of the zombie films, which I don't really count as being in this canon, they're like a separate entity. This is probably the most brutal we've ever seen
Oh
Michael.
yeah.
This is like a Michael who has like no F's left to give. Like in the last movie, he was taking his time, he's meandering around the neighborhood, but now the strobe women have just beaten the crap out of him and set him on fire and left him for dead. So he's just like, I got no F's left to give, dudes. I'm coming out and you're all gonna die. And I know that some people complain about him being like too actiony in this one, but I think I find like, and I've talked about this before, he's so precise with his movements. Like he's still Michael, he's not flailing around trying to do like some ninja moves or anything like that. He comes out and it's knife to the throat and it's, chainsaw to the chest and everything is so precise and so direct. It's like that's Michael. This is Michael Myers on steroids, but it's still Michael Myers. And I also think the way that particular sequence is shot with him emerging from the house, the use of the shadows,
Oh yeah.
everything is just, oh, you can understand why there's not really a complaint about that scene. It is so well done. And I remember when I watched it and he just walked out and I was like, oh yeah, he's back. He's gonna take every single one of these dudes down. And it was just like, it was glorious. As like a massive Michael Myers stan, this film is just like everything you want. It's so
Were
great.
you pretty happy then too with James? I mean, it sounds like you were happy with James Hughes Courtney as
Oh
Michael.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always struggle to figure out if I prefer him to Nick Castle because Nick Castle is like the OG and he's so good. But like James Jude Courtney, he has that aura and that physicality that you want with Michael. Like I was saying to my husband as I was watching it this morning, I'm like, the reason that Michael Myers is my favorite villain is because I am so scared of him. Like I do
Oh my
not want to meet
gosh.
this dude in like
Yes.
a dark alley. I wouldn't want to meet him on a well-lit street. I just
Right.
wouldn't. And this movie really embodies that. And James Jude Courtney really has that aura for me. So I'm always teetering between like, could I actually say he's my fave above Nick Castle? But then it's like, it's hard to say because without Nick Castle, you wouldn't have Michael Myers. He's the OG. But no, I think James is fantastic. And if Nick is going to be number one, then he's definitely number two for me.
So we'll talk too about Cameron's death. I mean, there's another one that I really watching it, I was just like, "Arr,
Hmm.
every crunch, I was just like, ooh, because we hadn't seen Michael Myers quite like that in the past, in previous installments. That was new for us. And it was the
Absolutely.
brutality in that scene and how he's starting to come down the stairs and she's like, leave him alone. And he was like, me? Leave him alone? I don't think so. Just walks back up the stairs, does more damage. I was like, what
Oh,
just
that
happened?
I know. No, that whole scene, I remember just, and I thought it was the first time I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, just kill him
Oh,
already.
yeah.
Please just kill him already. Like when Allison's screaming, leave him alone. I'm like, no, 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 sweetie, you want him to snap his neck. He's not going to survive this. It was so brutal. And the thing is, Cameron, because he's such a dink in 2018. He's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
gaslighting, cheating, like jerk in 2018. But I feel he gets his small redemption in this,
He does.
saving the sheriff and then going after Michael and being really gung ho and all of that. It was really nice to see him get that redemption. But then, yeah, I mean, I would have cheered that death in 2018 because in 2018, I was like, this dude sucks. He needs to go. But then they give him, and I guess that was really well done because it makes you feel for him. It makes you feel for Allison. And oh, yeah, the brutality. Yeah, I'm with you. Like every crunch, every hit, I just kept thinking, I just kept praying, please just die already. And I remember when he pushed his head through
Oh,
the
I was like, how is he
banister,
still breathing?
that was my reaction. I was like, how is he still alive? Like, how is this kid? So, yes, when Allison was like, leave him alone, I was like, no, no, don't leave him alone. Please put him out of his
Please
misery.
don't leave him alone.
Like that poor boy. That is one of the more brutal killings in this movie. And I mean, poor Cameron, he's just a teenager. Like, he does not deserve that. It's so brutal. It's
Oh
so
my
harsh. But again, that's why I say
gosh.
this Michael, he's not taking any prisoners. He's pissed, man. He's got some business to take care of.
Exactly. And in addition to that, going to the park kills.
He's brutal in these. I mean, 2018, you see him kill that kid in the car, but it's kind of like a from a distance kind of kill. But yeah, that scene, I remember. I think I actually gasped out loud when that happened. I was just like, "Wow, we are really going like full out here, kids, everyone." It doesn't.
I,
That's right. My husband and I were talking this morning. We're like, Michael Myers is a non-discriminate killer. He doesn't care if you're male, female, gay, straight, kid, young, whatever, old or young. He's coming for you,
you're
man.
you're on his
He's an
list.
apex predator.
I know some people felt like, why would you bring back the legacy characters just to kill them
Hmm.
off? I didn't mind that. I don't know how you felt
No,
about it.
I didn't mind it either. I mean, it's a Halloween film. You have to have some deaths, and as we said before, this one really lives up to its title. I did like that Lindsay, survived. I
Yeah.
like that we at least got one, but no, I didn't mind that at all. Especially because I actually really liked the way they reintroduced the legacy characters, like that whole thing down at the bar with Tommy doing his little, oh, the boogeyman is in Haddonfield, because I think that it really shows how Michael has become a bit of a living legend in Haddonfield, and like these people are part of his legend. So if a legend is going to come back to life, then they're going to get sucked back into it. And I think it also really shows that like you really can't escape him. Like Laurie learned that 40 years later, she couldn't escape him. So I like that it shows that like his evil is like spreading everywhere and that you think that you've gotten away and he's just going to come back to get you. So no, I didn't mind that at all. I can understand why some people might be upset. But I think it's worse when you bring characters back and then don't utilize them. Like kill them
Right.
off fine, but make sure that they're given some beefy stuff to do first. And I think these guys were given, some fun things to do and, some good characterization. So it worked for me. And I liked
Yeah.
that Nancy's death kind of echoed her first attack, that they had the hand on the window and, they had
Yes.
a little bit of a repeat of that. It was like an echo without being too obvious. And I did feel so bad for her because she got that great line in, this is for Dr. Loomis, and then you're out of bullets. It's like,
I'm like,
damn it,
you
such a
didn't even
cool
give her,
line.
they could have given her a couple bullets so that she could have got some
I
shots off. It's
know.
Michael. It's Michael. Those shots wouldn't have mattered, but it would have had some
Exactly. They just
impact.
bounce off.
So that was one of the complaints that people had was
Mm.
you're going to bring back the legacy characters and then do that. And the other complaint that I want to
Hmm.
defend, a lot of people didn't like Tommy Doyle. And I do wonder if that's because of Paul Rudd being in the sixth installment. So people kind of already had this idea of what Tommy Doyle
Yeah.
would be like. And Paul Rudd kind of played it up really weird. Like, I mean,
He's a
I
real
just
creeper in that movie.
didn't
Like,
seem,
he's peering in his neighbors' windows and surveilling them and being all like stalkery. I don't know, man. It's not right.
it's not my favorite Tommy Doyle, I will say. So Tommy Doyle played by Anthony Michael Hall. I feel like I think he did a good job. I feel so, okay, so here's the thing. When he put his all into this character and he was very matter of fact and telling his story at the bar and talking about Haddonfield, I don't think people had a problem with that, but it's the whole getting people riled up and let's get him and evil dies tonight. But what people have to realize, and I think you'll back me up on this man has been through some stuff as a kid that obviously he has not let go of. He's been traumatized, and to try to get through it, every year he's at this bar and he's, telling his tale, and he's not okay. I guess I try to be sympathetic to people because I think, man, he is not okay. And you can see it in his character, but people are like, he sucks.
I'll be honest, I am not a fan of Creeper Paul Rudd. Okay. So like
Okay.
his version of Tommy Doyle never vibed with me. So like I personally do not mind. I mean, it would have been cool if he had come back just for like the case of continuity, but personally, no, no. Creeper Tommy, not good.
Creeper Tommy.
Vigilante Tommy though. I do like Vigilante Tommy. Because I'm with you, this kid went through something really traumatizing at a very young age in your formative years where you are kind of forming long-term memories. So one of his earliest memories is probably this horrific night where his babysitter almost died, where he almost died. And like you said, he's kind of carried it with him. And then it's not just that he's carried that with him. When they find out that Michael's here, they start to see the damage that he's doing. They find
Oh
out about the
yeah.
people that he's killed. So it's not like, oh, Michael Myers escaped and we don't know where he is. It's Michael Myers escaped and he's killed 11 firemen and like a bunch of other
Oh
people and he's
yeah.
he's already wreaking havoc. So I can understand why Tommy would get riled up. And I think that Anthony Michael Hall, I think he did a really good job. You can tell that he's kind of just having real fun with this role. Like, he's out there with his bat and he's swinging around and he's like, yeah, evil dies tonight. Let's get him. And I actually really loved that little scene that he has with Laurie where he's all like, you protected me. Now I'm going to protect you. I'm like, that's
Oh.
so cute. It's just that little moment amongst all the madness. And I also like that after the whole, chasing the person through the hospital, which we'll obviously talk about, when Karen calls him out and is all like, okay, dude, you did this. He's like, yes, I know. Now, how do I fix it?
Yeah,
He
he
doesn't
owned
just
it.
keep going. Yeah, he
Right.
owns what he did. And then, he tries to make amends. And he's the one that I was really sad to see go. Like, I knew that it
Oh
was going to
yeah.
happen, but I just kept holding out hope that maybe Tommy could escape. But yeah, that one definitely made me sad.
And I mean, on the rewatch, I was like, this is cheesy. But it's fun. It's still
It
fun though
is.
to me. And to me, I love it. You like 2018 the most. I love Halloween Kills the most. And I'm gonna I'm gonna say something that's not gonna fare well with some people. And I think I might have mentioned this before on Night's channel, the Night Watch Zone. Shout out to Night Watch Zone because he's got a great channel as well. And Jamie Lee Curtis. I want to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis because I think part of the reason why I love the middle installment of this is that there's less Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm
That is
sorry.
unpopular.
I'm sorry. Don't throw tomatoes at me, people, but I feel like Laurie Strode back in the day was played out much differently than Laurie Strode in the David Gordon Green trilogy. And what I mean by that is it just feels like she's yelling all the time. I feel like it's Jamie Lee Curtis playing Jamie Lee Curtis on a like she's angry about something. Like she's had a bad day
Yeah.
on set, so she's yelling at everyone. That's what it feels like to me.
I can see that a little bit, especially
Yeah.
in this one.
I really hesitated for many years to say this. I'm just gonna say it because I don't care. Halloween H2O is my favorite of all of them. And I think it's because it has like a 90s feel to it. And there was just
Mm.
something about the movies back then. Of course, Scream is my favorite, and it's from 96, and it kind of has that like feel to it. Even though she does yell a lot in that one, there was something very determined about it, whereas it's almost like a parody in the David Gordon
Uh,
Green trilogy to me.
yeah.
Just my thoughts. And so in the 2018 one, I thought, what kind of Sarah Connor crap is this? Like, what is happening?
I love H2O as well
Okay.
because and like you, Scream is not just my favorite horror movie, it's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I love Scream. So one day we might have to chat about that.
Yes, please.
That could be an episode that could go for like 10 hours
Oh
though,
my
because
gosh,
we
I would
could
love
really
it.
get into it. That would be so great. And I similarly have a real affinity for movies. Like most people will say, oh, my favorite decade of horror is, I don't have a favorite decade. I have a favorite era that I call the post-Scream era. Basically,
Oh yeah.
96 to about 2004. That's my favorite era of horror because that's where we got a lot of those really great slashes that came out. We started to get some more international horror. We got some great ghost stories. And H2O, I totally agree with like that 90s vibe. I absolutely love that. And I did like Laurie's characterization in that. I, however, really love 2018 Laurie because of what I remember Jamie Lee Curtis. I think it was when they did H2O. She wanted Laurie to be more messed up than she was in that film, but I
Okay.
don't think it jived with the type of film they were making, not with like the setting and what they wanted to do with her character. So when they came in for the 2018, I think this is what she wanted Laurie to be the whole time, and I kind of love the idea of a Laurie who is so unhinged that she has gone like full Sarah Connor. Like when I first saw like when I first saw 2018 and they're coming up to her house and there's all the barbed wire and like all of like the dummies out the back that she's been shooting and it's like this full death trap. I'm like, girl, yes, this is like some jigsaw level stuff. This is awesome. And for me, that really worked. But I do think in Kills, because she doesn't have a lot to do, she's mostly just in that hospital room. That, yeah, I do think a bit of the Jamie Lee Curtis comes out a bit more because they're giving she's in less, like at least in 2018 she's moving around, she's seeing her daughter, she's going into town, she's arguing with the sheriff, whereas in this one she's just in the hospital bed. So I do get where you're saying, but for me, Laurie Connor Strode like absolutely works. I loved her. I thought that she was so great. And I just really loved how much they showed how much the obsession with Michael had kind of taken toll on her life, because you do see that a bit in H2O, with her relationship with
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett's character. That's a very rocky relationship. I love that scene where she's at lunch with her boyfriend and she guzzles that glass of wine really quickly. And then the waiter comes over and she's like, what? Like, because you can see that she's trying
Mind
to
your
keep it
business.
together. Exactly. But I love it in this trilogy. She's just much more messier. Like I love that scene in 2018 where she literally sneaks into Karen's house just to like sneak out and be like, boom, you're dead. And Karen's like, Mom, what the doing here? And she's like, you have no security, Karen. And I'm like, woman, you can't just be breaking into your daughter's house to teach her a lesson. Like that's unhinged. But so yeah, I can see why she might be too much for people. But for me, and like I think within the confines of the David Gordon Green trilogy, like I just kind of really love this Laurie. She's just
Rachel,
fun.
I'm so glad we're talking about it. So here's my favorite thing about talking with someone else on here and not just being a single solo flyer on this channel is that you're getting two perspectives. And what happens a lot of times when I talk with someone else or even watch a YouTube channel where someone's giving a different perspective, it makes me take a step back and go, there might be something I missed here. I
Oh, that's
need to maybe
awesome.
watch this with fresh eyes. And taking a step away from Halloween Kills for just a moment and saying, Scream 2 took literal decades to grow on me. Literal
I get
decades.
that.
I
Hmm.
didn't like a lot of it. Some of the opening I didn't like. Uh the cafeteria singing scene didn't like. I didn't feel like it needed to be, it just felt misplaced.
No.
And then the third
Hmm.
thing was for a long time, I really thought that third act reveal was just over the top, and I didn't learn to really accept it or embrace it for years until I saw. We watched a movie, their YouTube channel. They loved the second one, and I was watching Mike on that channel, one of the hosts. I was kind of watching it, thinking, what is he seeing that I'm not seeing? And just listening to him say exactly why he loved the second movie made me watch it again with a fresh set of eyes. And I have fully embraced it now. And I can't tell you, it's very magical when that happens. So talking to you about 2018 and just hearing your perspective of Laurie Strode, I'm like, I can actually look at it and laugh about it now because you're like, oh my God, this
Awesome.
lady's unhinged, breaking into her daughter's home. And I'm like, I'm gonna think of Rachel's words now when I watch it again.
So great. Oh, I love it. But no, I'm with you. I mean, you mentioned the Night Watch before, and obviously that's where we met. And, Night's channel is so great. But I've done, so many panels on there. And I think especially when they were doing like the Nightmare on Elm Street battles, and they were bringing up stuff about some of the sequels where I'm like not a big fan of them, but then they're like talking about certain angles, and I'm like, okay, no, I can kind of
Yes.
understand. So the next time I watch it, I'll keep an eye out. Might not change how I feel, but might make me more accepting of the things that I feel are a little
Right.
bit more, ridiculous. So no, it's great when you come and you see other perspectives because everyone experiences movies differently. You experience it from what your own personal experience is, what your attachment is to certain other movies in the franchise, all of that. And yeah, it's really fun to see, especially a character like Laurie, who is, like you said, she's different in almost every incarnation you see her in. So you have all these different versions of her. And it's really interesting to see which people love which version and why. So, and I do think that 2018 definitely took H2O as a blueprint. Like you can see that they
Oh yeah.
used certain aspects of Laurie's characterization from 20 from to H2O and put it into 2018. So I did like that. But like I said, I just love it. She's so much more crazy in 2018. She is so awesome. That bit where she's creeping around the neighborhoods and she almost shoots the sheriff, and then she's like, Jesus, Frank, as if it's his fault that
This
she
is
almost shot him. It's like, Laurie, he's a cop. He's supposed to be on the streets, like prowling. What are you doing, woman? So, yeah, no, she's just so great.
the big thing that people complain about, which we want to talk about next, are the mob slash chanting scenes. So the first time that the whole evil dies tonight is said is by Sheriff Brackett.
Hmm.
He says, evil dies tonight. And he said it very matter of fact. We weren't paying attention to that phrase until it was said over and over again by the mob of people
Yeah.
in the hospital. When he said it, it was just like, oh, okay, we'll let it pass. But then when people were saying it over and over again, people thought it seemed kind of silly. But this kind of thing happens in real mob situations in real life. They say the same phrase over and over and over again.
Like you said, that is very realistic. Like if you've ever seen a protest or if you've ever seen anyone, like you said, picketing, they do. They have their little catchphrase and it just gets repeated. And yeah, okay, maybe it's a little corny, but I mean, I don't know what else you could have come up with. I mean, it's yeah, I think that people sometimes you just have to understand sometimes you need a little bit of cheese. Sometimes a little bit of cheese gets through, and I don't think it ruins the whole movie. And I definitely don't think that when it comes to the mob stuff, that was the issue.
What really bothered me was the fact that you couldn't get him to stop. Once people were saying that's not the guy, when the guy walked in and you couldn't get him to stop, that was heartbreaking. That for me was a moment that kind of made me tear up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that part was hard. I really didn't like the stuff with the car outside the bar. I know that the whole point of the mob scene is that mob mentality makes you crazy, you stop thinking straight, you don't think rationally. But for me, I'm like, we couldn't have cast or we couldn't have gone with a patient who physically looks a little bit more like Michael Myers. Like, we're really going to believe that some dude who looks like the penguin is Michael
He
Myers.
did.
Like,
Oh my gosh. He did look
and
like the
that bugs
penguin.
me more than anything else
Okay.
because I'm like it because it doesn't make for me it didn't come across as like the mob is going with mob mentality. It just was like you guys are just stupid. You guys are just being stupid and just going after the first person you see. Whereas I think if they'd got a guy who looked a little bit more physically like James Jude Courtney, then it could have been like, okay, you really don't know, so now you're going after whoever you think physically might look like him. That would have made more sense to me. But yeah, that whole bit when he's in the car and he's playing the music and the car's like moving forward a bit and moving back. And again, to me, I'm like, even if these guys like mistakenly thought this might have been Michael, like Tommy, you know better. You know that this isn't what he does. Like, I know Michael can be kind of, for want of a better expression, playful. He poses his bodies and stuff like that, but he doesn't do crap like that. Like, that's just not his style. And so for me, that's the part that ruined it. So it was the fact that, yeah, the guy who played him didn't look anything like James Duke Courtney. And so therefore I couldn't buy the mob thinking that this guy was actually Michael Myers. And then, yeah, all the weird stuff with the car and with all of
Well,
that stuff was just so bizarre.
and I'm going to come in and defend what you just said. So this is going to be perfect. This is perfect. So first of all, the mob mentality, you remember it was one person that saw the guy and said it's him. Tommy
Sure.
Doyle just kind of was going off of what someone said. and saying, yeah, let's get them. One
Mm.
person, that's all it takes in a mob of people to get them going sometimes. That's all it takes. And so the fact that one person said definitively,
Mhm.
he just walked in. He just walked in the doors. Michael Myers is here. So then everyone is freaking out without taking a
Yeah.
step back to say, is it really him or is someone giving an accurate description of some little dude that isn't even the same height? And then let me talk about so the car thing. I'm not defending this as much as I am saying how silly and ridiculous it was. On this watch, I was like, oh my God, Tommy Doyle just totally messed up that couple's car. Didn't even like double check to see who was sitting in the driver's seat. It could have been a homeless man for all we know, wanting to take a ride.
Just out here with his bat, just like, oh, I'm ready to do some womping. Let's go.
I couldn't believe
I
it.
know. I mean, they're lucky they're all died. They all died. Otherwise, Tommy might have owed those guys a new car, and that could have just been
Like
all sorts of
insurance would have
badness.
gotten involved. It would have been a whole
Uh-huh.
thing.
Absolutely. Oh dear. He's
But
very gung ho, Tommy. He's like, I feel like Tommy was looking for a fight in this movie. Like he's had a few drinks, he's told his boogeyman story, and then he's like, "All right, boys, there's no fight club in town. Let's go trolling for trouble." He's just ready to throw hands that whole movie.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I will say now the moment where the little penguin dude realizes there's no way out. I can't get around these people and they're gonna really hurt me. Yeah,
God.
my heart broke on that one,
Me
especially when
too.
they like they didn't have to show us how he landed. That was really hard too. I was like, dang.
I think that was just a bad choice because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, we're in a slasher movie. We're gonna want to see deaths, but you got to think about the type of death. And this was a suicide
Yes.
from fear. We don't need to have like a
No.
gory slasher aftermath. And that to me was, yeah, that was the wrong thing to do. I never
Right.
like that shot. Like when we see him like
Oh,
splayed out on it, it's like, no, we don't need that. And I will say that scene is like the moment where like Karen like really got into my heart when she's,
oh,
she's trying to
yes.
protect him and when she's like, take my hand, I'll get you out of here. And yeah, it's a really intense, really sad scene. Maybe that might be why the mob scene doesn't always truck well with people because it does kind of stop a slasher movie to have this really sad, very
Oh,
poignant
yeah.
moment, which I know that slashers can do, and I've seen other slashers do it, but this movie, which is so ratcheted up with the adrenaline and the kills and everything, it maybe just feels a little almost like it takes you out of the movie to suddenly just stop for a moment and have this really real, visceral moment of this poor human being that has no escape. And maybe they just filmed it wrong and maybe went a little too far with the pathos of the scene. And it just takes you. And then almost like 5 minutes after that scene, we're hunting Michael Myers again, like, let's go. So it's almost like that tonal
Yeah.
whiplash was maybe just the wrong time to try to do that. Because I do definitely understand what they're trying to do with that story. And I understand that they're trying to get across that message of mob mentality and what happens when you take vigilante justice into your own hands and how people can get swept
Mhm.
up in terror and fear. I understand all that. They even kind of played with that a little bit, I think, in the original Halloween too. They do play with that a little bit, but maybe they just went too far and maybe
Right.
the tonal shift was just maybe too much for a lot of people to handle because I have heard a lot of people say if they took that storyline out they'd prefer the movie more, so yeah,
Oh,
maybe
for
it was just the
sure.
wrong time to try that kind of storyline, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to
I
be.
don't
Like,
think it is
there have been a
either.
lot more offenses in the Halloween franchise
Yeah.
than, I mean, we can discuss, Hobo Myers or the Cult of the Thorn or, all of this other really bizarre stuff that happens or, Paul Rudd beating the crap out of Michael Myers, who apparently bleeds green in Halloween 6. So, there are so many more offenses in this like franchise than this one like storyline that I think people just need to like ease up a little bit.
For someone to say Halloween Kills was the worst movie of them all, or another one that gets it is you would think that it would be Halloween Ends, but actually I did a poll in the Scarefest weekend fan group, and most people were saying Resurrection, like they didn't like that one. When they were saying Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I think those were the two most that were kind of
Yeah.
getting. I was really surprised that Halloween 6 wasn't getting more hate because
Yeah.
I feel like it's the least it's the weakest of all of them.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, definitely. I'll just admit something here on this podcast, which might get me stoned, but I have such a soft spot for Halloween Resurrection. It's so
I do too.
bad. Right? And again, I
Oh,
think it's because it came out in that era of horror where we were having all of those really bad slashes. So to me, it has that same vibe. Like, yeah, all the characters suck, and like Buster Rhymes is fantastic. But I have, every time I watch that movie, I have so much fun. The ridiculousness of it, you know, that scene where like Freddy is in a Michael mask and he's literally face to face with real Michael and he's like tapping him on the head and it's like, dude, what are we doing? And then, of course, you know, electrocuting him in the nuts at the end, like that's how we're gonna kill him. It's so bad, but it's just, I don't know, I have so much fun when I watch it. So, like, it's definitely not low on, like, there are movies that are lower on my list in this franchise than that one. And I know I'll get so much crap for that, but I just have so much fun watching
no,
Resurrection.
I think I've been wanting to do an episode with someone about resurrection, so you might be the one. I think you
There we
might be the
go.
one if you, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yep.
you're not sick of Halloween. But
Never.
how does someone get sick of Halloween anyway? I don't think that's a
No,
real
no,
thing.
no, I don't think that's possible.
What were your thoughts on Big John and Little John?
Of Big John and Little John. Okay, first of all, those dudes are having the best Halloween. They've got their movies and their music and their cheese platter and their drugs, and they're just having like the best time. I love what they do. I love the interior of the Myers house because it's so over the top with all that dark green and like everything. It's so much fun. But one thing that I can never ever get over, and this is one of those people doing stupid things in horror films. Why would Big John put down a golf club and pick
Oh,
up a tiny little cheese knife? It's like, dude, you had a golf club. You can do some serious damage with those things. Like, why would you put it down and then be like, I have this knife? It's like, oh yeah, buddy, you're going places with that. I can totally see you killing Michael Myers with
put some distance between you and the Michael.
that.
I mean, you
But no,
guys are living in
I
his
love Big
house.
John. Yeah, Big John and Little John. Oh, they are like some of my favorite minor characters. And I just think and I think, again, I feel like the actors, especially the one playing Big John, they're just having so much fun. Like when he's, singing his Halloween song and doing his little dance, I'm like, yeah, dude, go. You're having the best time. This is fantastic. I was really sad when they died,
I was sad
especially under the
too.
arm. Under
Oh,
the arm.
every time I
That
watch, I go, oh,
I know. I love when horror movies do that, when they give you like a stab or something that is completely out of the blue. And the fact, like, come on, that's just nasty. And again, this comes back to Michael, like, kind of being playful or sadistic, however you want to see it. But the fact that he poses them in the same
oh.
pose as like their wedding picture or whatever that was, it's so heartbreaking.
For a moment, you forgot that someone's out there killing the crap out of people.
Yeah, you're right. I never really thought about that, but it does. It kind of reminds you that just for the average person in this movie, this is just Halloween night. You
Yeah.
know, we're just going out, having our food, watching our movies. And yeah, it does give you that kind of slight reprieve and a little bit of a breather before we get back into the intense stuff.
I did think it was kind of poking a little fun the way, like you said, how he posed them.
One of those old timey love songs, and you're just like, oh, Michael, you sadistic
So
dude.
sadistic.
Come
This
on.
was the first movie
Uh-huh.
where you saw him like with someone like playing with their food kind of thing. Like, oh gosh, like
Yes,
you're not just killing people, you're
definitely.
actually enjoying it. It's the first time that I
Hmm.
think I saw him actually enjoying killing.
Yeah.
Starting with the
That
fireman.
Yes, that pose and also the way he posed the couple who were the doctor and the nurse and then the poor actual nurse hanging from the bloody swing set.
Right.
And I did love, look, I'm not a fan of Season of the Witch, but I did love the little Silver Shamrock callback. That's always fun.
Some of the movies when they say, "Oh, they're just a fan service," so I'm a
So
fan and I
exactly.
like the service you just
Yeah,
gave me.
service me. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think fan service can work. You just have to do it in a way that feels like it can work organically into the movie. And I think you can do that. I think the only problem with fan service is when it goes a little too extreme. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like fans, we need a little servicing now and then.
Yes.
Come on.
They said this kind of the
Definitely.
same thing about Ghostbusters or one of the Ghostbusters movie that came out. Oh, there's
Mm.
fan service. What are you going to complain about next? Because you're giving me some,
Mhm.
I always think it's really endearing when they bring up something from the past and they kind of make it relevant in modern day. And I will never complain about that. I never understood that with, oh, they're
I
giving us
know.
too much fan stuff. Oh, they're being so nice to us. Ugh.
How dare they give us more of what we
I'm so
love?
angry
It just
about it.
it does sometimes seem like these franchises can't win because if they lean too much into the nostalgia or too much into the legacies and people are like, oh, it's just nostalgia bait, like it's just fan service. But then if they go too far the other way, they're like, oh, they changed it, it's too
I
different, it's not
know.
what we liked. It's like, well, make up your minds. Do you want it to be the same or do you not? Oh, it can be really frustrating. And I think it sometimes it puts these filmmakers in a really bad position. Like they're
Right.
trying so hard to not offend anyone and to not piss off the fans. And the internet is a crazy place and you always have people who are very opinionated. And yeah, sometimes I just feel a bit bad for them because I'm like, they do their best trying to like please everyone, and you just can't please
Right.
everyone. So, look, I figure as long as the movie is still fun and I'm still enjoying it, and I don't feel like you are betraying the source material or or looking down on the source material or anything like that, as long as I feel like you're honoring the source material and I'm having fun, I'm on board with it. I mean, that's why I
Yeah.
can like something like Resurrection. It's just like it's still fun. I really don't like when people say that Michael's gotten too actiony in this. Like I've seen a lot of people compare
Okay.
him more with like Jason in this film, but like again, to me, I think that it's like we have to look at what is going on in this film, what's actually happened to Michael up until this point, what mind frame he's going to be in. And like I said, I still think that even within those fight scenes, he's so precise and he's so to the point. Like even like I mentioned, like one of my favorite scenes is that end scene with Haddonfield when Karen manages to do the gotcha moment. I said this once on a video I did with Night, but I remember when I saw that scene and when I saw everyone come out, I literally like sat back and I was like, every single one of you dudes is about to die tonight. Like I was like, you are all so effed right now.
Oh
And
no.
then, but when you see Michael in that scene, it's a direct cut to the like to someone's Achilles tendon. It's stabbing someone here. It's this. It's not. He's not doing like any ninja moves. He doesn't have the same physicality as Jason. Jason's physicality is very different to Michael's, and I think that they still managed to capture Michael's in this movie. So yeah, I get a little bit annoyed when people are like, "Oh, you made him too actiony." I'm like, no, he's killing more people, and he's really pissed. Okay, it's a darkly funny, like, but also horrifying, but also you kind of like, oh my god, Michael, you're such a weirdo. That scene where he's attacked Laurie's neighbors, and the poor lady watching Michael like almost like test the knives out on her husband. And I'm like,
I
Michael, you're such a freak. Just
just
grab
take
a knife and
one.
go. Like, why do you have to use this poor guy as like a pincushion? But like that to me, that spoke to like that reminded me of the Michael who comes in the sheet and the glasses when he goes to kill, Linda.
Oh.
Like it reminds me of that side of Michael, where he knows that he's terrorizing someone, but he doesn't care. He's just gonna, that's just what he does. So I actually, like I said, this is one of my favorite Michaels. One of my favorite iterations of Michaels. Like if I were to rate Michael by the movie,
Yes.
this one would be really high because to me it's Michael Myers, but it's Michael Myers on steroids.
Oh my
Like
God.
this is like uber Michael Myers.
What you just said was like a revelation for me. It was like a light bulb went off because I didn't realize that that's probably also why I like this one so much, is because we see such a different side of him. And
Yeah.
when you're calling it back to that ghost in the sheet thing, oh my gosh, you're so right.
Oh, and
You've obviously
it's
watched
why I
this.
really love. Oh, I have watched these movies to like ridiculous degrees and all the time. And because Michael is my favorite, he's my favorite like horror movie villain. I love him. So when I watch these movies, he always has my focus. Like if he's in a scene with someone else, my focus will go to him, not
Okay.
to whoever else it is, because well, if he's a good Michael, there are some movies where he's not a great Michael, and then I'm just like, okay, you're boring me, go away. But this particular Michael, so good. And I actually have this with I'll just say this quickly, little segue, but I have this with Tyler Mane in the zombie films. I can't
Oh,
take my eyes off him when he is on screen. Oh my God, he has such a presence. Like I have so many
oh
problems with
my
the zombie films,
gosh.
but Tyler Mane is not one of them. He is one of my favorite Michaels, and that physicality and that magnetism. I feel like him and James G. Courtney and Nick Castle, they just
Yes.
all have that, and it's why he's one of my favorite, horror movie villains, and it's why I will still watch the zombie films, even though I'm not that much of a fan of them, because I just think Tyler is so good.
He scares the daylights out of me. They had
Mm.
Karen go up into the house, which I do wonder, like, what was she thinking going back into that house? But in her
Yeah.
mind, they had like ended him. He was dead.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
so she was just thinking, I'm gonna go up there, I guess, and see, I don't know, from a bird's eye view, what it always looked like from him looking out the
Yeah.
window.
Yes, well, that's the thing. They do have that kind of little running theme in this movie of like he would just look out the window. So it was like, and I think a lot of this movie is like, what actually is in his mind? What is he thinking? Why is he going home? What's so I think it's part of that extension of I'm going to go stand where he stood and just maybe see if I can figure out where all this mayhem came from. And like you said, I mean, she'd just given him a pitchfork to the neck. She thought that he was like gone. So you can't really blame her for not being aware anymore. But although that being
Yeah.
said, I mean, the man survived a fire, so maybe you should
Oh.
be looking over your shoulder everywhere you go. It's Michael Myers. He's kind of invincible.
But now, did you think at the end that maybe that was not a real life? Because when I first watched it, I thought, did that really just happen, or is this one of those someone's
I did
dreaming?
have a moment where I was like,
Okay.
wait, no, this isn't, you're not going to kill Karen, not after everything. No, it was like, because it was like, they lulled us into a false sense of security. Like
They
we knew that
did.
he'd taken out the town, but he was away from the Strode women, like
Yeah.
we thought they were done. So yeah, to have him appear, I did for a second just be like, what is happening? Why is this happening? And I mean, Halloween Ends is a whole completely different discussion, but I do think that that ending did leave open some really good stuff, which they did not pick up on in Halloween Ends. But
Right.
I think it was, I think it was one of those endings that I think on retrospect maybe works a little bit better because the first time you are so shocked and so kind of almost taken out of the moment that it almost doesn't land what's
Right.
kind of happened and what they're setting up. Because you really do think at that point that it's over, the Strodes are safe, he's gonna just run off and that's gonna be that. So definitely a brave ending. But then they didn't really take up with it in Halloween Ends. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
it
It's
kind
it's
of
a little
represents that.
disjointed. Yeah, Halloween Ends
Yeah.
is a whole other discussion that I think I should probably talk about at some point because I would like to almost do like a not a defending of it, but more of a let's explore it. Let's take a deeper look at it and see what we
Yeah.
liked and what maybe could have been different. So, and I think there's a lot of exploration videos out there, but I've been wanting to look at it closer for a long time. So that is
Yeah.
another one. But I feel like Halloween Kills is definitely a movie that if you've been thinking for a while, this was not a good one in the trilogy. I strongly encourage people to go back and really rewatch it with what we've said in the back of your mind and just see if maybe you look at it a little from a different perspective then
Yeah.
because that does happen. It's like magic sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane. Sometimes I've actually had movies that I remember like really not liking, and then years will pass, and I'll put it on, and I'll be like, oh no, I actually like this now. What was going on? Because you just don't know. Different perspectives, time changes things. Sometimes you're just not in the right mood. Like I found sometimes I'll watch a movie, and if I'm just not in the right mood, it just
Right.
doesn't stick, and then you try it again when you're like feeling a bit better. So yeah, definitely. I just look, I think at the end of the day with Kills, it is just so much fun. And that's
Yeah.
that's what I find when I watch it. I have so much fun watching this movie. There's so much adrenaline, there's so many great set pieces. I think the characters are really fun. And like I said, the Halloween franchise has committed way worse sins than this. So I think if you can overlook Buster Rhymes nut fraying, Michael, or you can overlook the Cult of the Thorn, or you can overlook, Michael speaking, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in this franchise that I think is much worse than what goes on in this film. And like I said, you just get one of the best Michaels, I think, in the franchise. He is just so fantastic in this one.
I agree. And I feel like this is a movie too that you don't necessarily have to watch the first and the third one. You don't have to watch them
No.
all three. You can watch it by itself. Just enjoy it for
Hmm.
what it is, which is Michael just having a good old time and really enjoying himself sticking it to people. I mean, it's the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I love the flashback scenes in this movie. And
Yes.
the way that they're filmed, like, because I remember, and it's probably a stupid thought because it would never have happened. But I remember when I first saw this, I remember thinking, is this uncut footage? Like, is this leftover footage that we didn't see from 78? Because it just looked so close to the
Oh,
78. And then
Dr.
to
Loomis.
the
Is that
Yeah,
what you're mentioning?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then that moment happened, and I was like, what did we resurrect Donald Pleasance? What is happening? Like this, it just completely threw me. But one of my favorite shots in the entire freaking movie is that shot when Loomis comes out and Michael's there, and there's like 10,000 policemen with like their guns trained on him. Because I remember thinking, yes, this is the only way to take Michael Myers down. There is no other way. You've got to have like a million people with a million guns. And I don't know how you can tell because he's got the mask on, but I swear you can see him thinking, maybe I can take like he's calculated. But I just because I remember when that scene came on and I just went, oh my God, that is amazing. That is so good. I love that they actually showed us how they took him down. Yeah, I just thought all those scenes were done so well. And I really loved that they incorporated them and then worked, a bit more of the lore and the mythology into this movie. And yeah, I genuinely thought for like 2 seconds, oh my God, they've pulled out old footage from the vault. Like it was just so well done.
Really. And I always say too, like if you watch it again and you really still feel the same way, the beauty of watching these movies on streaming, on DVD, however you're watching it, you can fast forward through the stuff you don't like. You're basically
Exactly.
cutting out you're doing your own edits there and just watch it the way you want to watch it. I mean, I've done that in the past. I did that with Scream 2. Sometimes I just let the cafeteria song go, and other times I'm like,
Oh
I'm not
God.
feeling it, dude. You can sing to somebody else. I'm not feeling it, and I'll just hit that fast forward button.
I do that when I watch Kills sometimes. Like I didn't do it today because I was rewatching for this, so I wanted to take everything in. But sometimes I will just fast forward through like the mob scene and just go to the parts that I want to. Because yeah, make your own little like director's cut from your couch using your
Yes,
remote.
and people have done this on YouTube as well. There's like a fan cut. I don't know if you've seen that ever, where someone's
Yes.
uploaded
I've
a
heard of it.
fan
I haven't
cut.
seen it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good stuff. So,
stuff.
but yeah, hopefully we've made an impact today on people that can maybe give it another chance. And you know what, drop a comment, let us know, was there something that was what movie in the franchise was the one that was kind of the weakest link for you? Was it this one or was it another one in either the David Gordon Green trilogy or one of the previous installments? Was it the Rob Zombie one or two? So I'm curious to see which one you pick. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Rachel, thank you for joining me. I hope you'll come back on the show again.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a blast. And I'm thinking, yeah, if we do Resurrection, that could be a really fun one.
Yes, indeed.
But thank you again for having me on. It's been
Oh my
lovely.
gosh. Yes, absolutely. We will see you next time.